personal finance. If you are watching in YouTube or Facebook live, we have 2 minutes before we go live in the Zoom meeting. So I've got some students waiting. I'm going to jump in and start the meeting. Oh, the meeting's already started. We have some people waiting in the waiting room. So let me go ahead and let those folks in. Admitting. All right. Welcome to those of you who are joining via Zoom. Welcome, welcome. We're about to get started. We're a little early, but I wanted to let you in since you were waiting. It's always good to be early. Hey, Nathan, Elise, Casey, Galilea, Sarah, can you guys hear me? Can you turn on your mic, unmute yourself, and let me know you can hear me? All right. Hey, Sarah, thank you. Thank you, Elise. Welcome. Good morning. I'm Jim Munchback, and I'll be your guide. We'll get started here in a few minutes. It's 9:59 a.m. We won't officially start until 10, but thank you very much for showing up and being early and on time. So as you know, this is an asynchronous course. So
who do you want to message?
Sorry about that. Siri thinks I'm going to turn off my phone. You know, when we used to meet in person before we did online, I always asked students to turn off their phones, and I would hold my phone up and turn it off. And I had to do that because otherwise I'd get text messages. Today, what happens is I get that if I say her name, she will jump into action. So I've got all these Apple, Mac products going. Sorry about that. Okay, I digress. It's 10 a.m. So welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, well, you're not alone because this is our first time. And I'm excited to get started. I'm going to give, we have students continuing to join. So I'm going to continue to admit students. I see a face. Whose face is that? It's Brittany. Hey, Brittany, I see your face. It's unusual to get to see a face. I love to see faces, but I don't make you show your face. Do your other professors make you show your face? No, I won't either. But it is nice to see your face. Sometimes it's not so nice because sometimes students show up in unique situations that are inappropriate to be visible on the internet. But at any rate, it's good to see you, Brittany. Thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to say it is now 10:01 and we're about to get started. But in the future, we will meet every Tuesday at 10 a.m. At the same location with the same link. But this is an asynchronous course, so you don't have to be here. But I really appreciate those of you who can be here. I'll make myself available during the Zoom meeting and after the Zoom meeting to answer any questions you have related to the course, the material, or anything, any questions you have about personal finance and financial planning. I'm happy to help and answer. So I'll stick around at the end of each of these Zoom meetings every Tuesday at 10 a.m. But don't worry if you can't be here or if it's just inconvenient for you to be here. This is an asynchronous course, which means you will have access to the video of the meeting via YouTube and Facebook. So we're live streaming right now to Facebook and YouTube. And the links to those videos will be posted in Money Study Group. So we'll talk about that in a minute. One other thing I want to mention now, it's 10:03 a.m. And those of you who got here early, you've been listening to me ramble, just kind of taking up time. And so I do that on purpose. I mean, every time we get together, I will ramble from 10 a.m. to 10:05 a.m. because I feel like it's appropriate to give a couple of minutes for students who may be late. And if I didn't So I will admit you into the Zoom meeting from 10 a.m. to 10:05 a.m. It's very distracting for me. If you could see what I'm seeing, all the technology that we have to use to do what I'm doing right now, it is somewhat challenging. So I do. I try to. I try to pay attention to the students who are coming and needing to be admitted. And I do that until 10:05. After that, I stop looking. If you're trying to get into the course, into the Zoom meeting at 10:08, I'm not going to admit you. So I'm not even going to be looking to see if there's someone in the waiting room. So I wanted to make that announcement just kind of out of the chute. It's now only 10:04 a.m., so this is kind of typical. Normally, as we get started, I will talk about things that I think might be on your mind, that are on my mind, things that have occurred over the previous week. And so I'll do that. So I encourage you to be here early on time at 10 a.m. A participant requests that live transcription be enabled for the meeting. Okay, cool. I have a student. That's cool. Okay, boom. Live transcription, closed captioning has been enabled. Who can see this? I imagine you can all see this. So that's cool. I know we have a student who requires a live transcription. So that's now been enabled. I'm not sure what that looks like. Oh, I think I see it now in the bottom of the... That's very cool. I should probably do that all the time. So anyway, I'm still admitting students. I know you can't, I don't think you can see that on your end, but this technology, is awesome as it is, it's a little distracting, especially if you're a person who occasionally struggles with ADD. I have a lot of things going on here. So now it is 10:05 a.m. Now today I'm going to make an exception. I'm not going to just not admit students who show up late because they haven't, nobody's been acclimated to the course. But those of you who are here right now, thank you for being on time. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate having an audience. It's so much more. My iPad keeps going blank. I got a new iPad just for this semester. Want to see it? You can't see it, but it's cool. It's cool. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to get started now, and I want you to know that showing up to this Zoom meeting, it's not required. It's an asynchronous course, as you know. Over the last few semesters, I've tried to take rigorous polls from my students to find out what you prefer. And while there is always a small group of students who really want in-person education, and I certainly absolutely see the value and the benefit of being in person. But over the course of the last couple of years, for sure, since COVID, as I've begun to ask students, what do you really want? The large majority have wanted online, on demand, asynchronous. And for that reason, I made a decision last semester to produce this course as an online course, and I don't do in person anymore. So I'm really glad you're here. I'm going to do my best to teach you the things that I believe can help you become, I know that what I'm going to teach you this semester, and if you haven't seen the syllabus, I'm sure you have seen the syllabus. It's right there in the beginning on the front page, that the big idea in this course in personal finance is to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. And so that's my goal. And when I created this course, I needed to have a very clear goal so that as I created the content, as I created the lessons and the homework assignments, and all of the content that you will consume throughout this course and well beyond this course, I hope. All of that content was created with a very clear scope and sequence and outcome. And so to do that, I really needed to have one big goal. And the goal seemed to me to be clearly to help you become a millionaire by the time you're 50. So we're going to talk about that for a few minutes today. And I'm going to also do my best to cover some of the basic elements that you're going to want to know so that you can earn an A in the course. So again, questions are absolutely invited. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do each time we show up is to put in the chat, just put your name and the time that you got here. It's kind of how I take roll. I don't really take roll, but I like to have a record of who's here, and that's how I create that record. So if you'll please just get in the habit in the chat of putting your name and the time that you showed up, that would be great. So you can do that now, if you would, please. And that way, you can feel like you're leaving a record. So we'll do that. And also in that same chat is where you will post questions. You're always welcome to unmute yourself, and you're always welcome to show your face if you want to do that. And some of you, I know, have absolutely beautiful faces. And then some of you have faces more like mine, not so beautiful. And I'm sorry for that, but hey, we can all still enjoy our faces. And so just so you know, you're always welcome to show your face. I love to see your faces. So thank you for that. But I know if you don't want to show your face, I don't want to pressure you. I don't want to pressure you to do anything you don't want to do. But if you're asking a question, you can leave it in the chat. You can sound off. So feel free to do that. This is your time. It's not my time. But I do find that students these days, and you probably have experienced this as well, that since we've gone online, since COVID, it's like there's not as much chatter in the classroom, not as much engagement, interaction, questions. I don't know how you feel about that, but as an instructor, I can tell you that clearly that dynamic, that element, that quality of good education seems to have kind of gone down. So I'm going to do my best to try to overcompensate and make our interactions quality and also just more interactions. We're going to do a lot of collaboration this semester, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we're going to do that here in a minute. So if you haven't checked out moneystudygroup.com, I think I have that. Yeah, this is just a page that I created to give you a little bit of information about the online course. You will need to enroll in the course. So I know you're enrolled as a student at the University of Houston, and I know you paid a good deal of money to enroll in this course and every other course. So let me talk a little bit about Money Study Group in terms of an online portal. It's one of the elements of the course. And if you haven't checked it out, there is a post. I put this in Money Study Group. It's just about Money Study Group. And if you scroll through, you'll see a video where I basically made a video of everything that's in the post, which is what I do. I make videos. So I talk about the fact that this course, and I want to just kind of give a little bit of a highlight. You can read and you can watch that video, so I don't want to spend the whole time doing it. But I did get a question this semester, and I'm answering the question in this post about a student who wasn't happy about the fact that they had to pay for an online portal in addition to signing up and paying the tuition at the University of Houston. And I think that's a great question. So I'm not going to name the student who asked that question. And I've had questions like this ever since, from the beginning. And let me go back to the beginning. I've been teaching this class for over a decade. When I started teaching this course, we used material from Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you know Dave Ramsey, I'm sure you've heard of him, but Dave Ramsey has a massive production company that creates content around financial literacy. Mostly, he focuses on being debt-free. Dave Ramsey and his team, and I've met them. I've been to his buildings, and awesome team. They've done an awesome job of helping people become debt-free. And so we used his course. We like his course, the College Foundations course is what it's called. And so when we began teaching personal finance at the University of Houston, we used his content. And it was good content, but for a lot of people, it was a little too conservative. He's old school, and I'm old school too at heart. But I recognize that teaching you requires me to be a little bit more open-minded than, Dave is a very religious focused, and I have the same faith as Dave. I like Dave. I believe in what Dave talks about, but I recognize that as an instructor, I have a duty to be a little bit more open-minded. And there's certain things that Dave talked about that created some tension with students. So that was one thing. And the other thing was this content wasn't all that updated. It was kind of old. It's been refreshed a little bit now. But at any rate, the cost was $98 to about $125, depending on where you got it. And as the instructor here, and as someone who wanted to put together the very best content for you in teaching this course, students complained about that, obviously, and I wasn't thrilled about that. But, every course you take, you have a textbook or some other extra cost. And so what I decided to do when COVID hit, I'd wanted to create an online course for some time, and that was the time that I decided to commit the resources and the time to do that. My goal was to make sure that what you got was less expensive than any alternative, which we've done. But mostly I wanted to make sure that I could create an online experience that would achieve and exceed your expectations in terms of what you learn in personal finance. And I think we've done that. I'm pretty sure based on the reviews at ratemyprofessors.com. Nonetheless, all that doesn't change the fact that you are paying an additional like $80 for the online content that you get in this course. So if you want to know more about the course, that's what this post is. I talk about the conflict of interest. I don't know your definition of a conflict of interest, but I worked on Wall Street. I've worked in many roles, and there is almost always a conflict of interest. So the best thing we can do whenever there's a potential conflict of interest is to be transparent about it. So let me just be transparent. I own a company. It's called Bayrock Financial. I took my experience and everything I learned working on Wall Street, which was a miserable place to work because of all the hidden agendas, all the hidden fees, and all of the conflicts of interest. It was everywhere on Wall Street. I worked at Morgan Stanley in the wealth management department, and it was a great experience, but it was a terrible place to work. I wouldn't want to wish it on anyone. Yet many people work on Wall Street, and that's great, but I wanted to create something better for my clients. So I built Bayrock Financial. It's an independent registered investment advisory firm. It's my company. I own it. I make good money providing investment management and financial planning services to clients, and I charge a fraction of what I would have to charge if I worked on Wall Street. Because I own the company, and because I have to buy very expensive technology for my clients and to manage my business, I had the opportunity to take some of that technology and make it available to you. So I don't do that for free, but I do it at a significant reduction in cost. And so when you get into this course, one of the things you get is you get the online portal, which is Thinkific. It's not cheap, but it's pretty good. It's fast. I've had complaints about other platforms I use, so we use Thinkific. When you go to Money Study Group and you enroll, you will be in that platform, Thinkific, and I talk about that here. The other thing you get, which is really powerful, is Right Capital. It is financial planning software, and that's what we're going to use this semester to create your financial plan. So you're going to learn more about that as we go forward. But at this point, I happen to know that some of you have already enrolled. Some of you have even taken the next step to go ahead and set up your account at Bayrock in Right Capital. And so all of you are going to need to do that if you want to continue moving forward in this course, because that's how your grade is going to be developed. All of your assignments will be through Blackboard, but all of your teaching and training and interaction will be done outside of Blackboard. So that's what you're getting when you sign up and you pay the $79.95 for Money Study Group. You get access to all of the technology that we use in this course to help you learn not only the principles of personal finance and not only the process of financial planning, but in order to get through this course, you're going to create a financial plan. And I'm going to walk you through that and help you do that and coach you through that process. And I've found that that's the best way to teach you about personal finance. So you're getting access to something that's a very premium product in terms of what you would get if you were a client of a wealth management firm. But you're also getting an instructor and a coach and a lot of interactions so that you don't have to worry about the difficulty of creating a financial plan. I'm going to do my best to make that very easy. So to do that, I needed certain tools, and those tools are not cheap, and I'm asking you to pay a small fee to participate in that. Now, if you're not interested, it's not too late to drop the course. There is two other instructors who teach this course, but I checked with them this week, and both of them, their online resources are more expensive than what you're paying in this course. So I hope that answers the question for the student who was not very happy with the fact that I'm asking you to pay me for a product and then asking you to use my company tools to conduct what we do in this course. So I hope that helps. If it doesn't, you're free to shoot me an email and we can talk some more about it. But that's it for now. I want to just kind of show you, these are some of if you look at this post, you'll see some of the things that are part of your financial planning portal. And most of the things that you will see in your financial plan, not most, but some of them are beyond the scope of this course. So I'm going to try, and I'm going to keep us focused on the scope of this course. I'm going to teach you how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. And to do that, I need to keep the course focused on the things that are essential for you to learn. And I promise you, when you complete this course, you'll have a significantly better grasp of not just the principles of personal finance, but the process. And so that's what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes. The process. What do you need to do? What do you need to engage in to be successful in terms of developing financial habits that will tremendously move the needle in your financial life? So that's what this course is about, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next few minutes. Before I do that, let me just tell you, we do have a podcast. It's Missional Money Podcast. It's not the same name, but it's from the same people. It's a tool that I'm going to use this semester to really unpack the components of a financial plan. So as we go through the course, as you get your homework assignments, you're going to, if you like, you're going to have access to a podcast. So I don't know if you like to listen to podcasts, but I do. The podcasts are videos. So the videos are going to be posted in your playlist. So let me just, when I say your playlist, I want you to know that you have a playlist. So on YouTube, if you go to, well, first let's go to the channel. So this is the channel for Money Study Group. You can find it on YouTube, I think, just by searching Money Study Group. And I would encourage you to subscribe to that channel. You don't have to, and if you're not into YouTube, then don't. But that's the channel that we use for the content in our course. And so in this on this YouTube channel, we have a playlist. So You can create playlists on a YouTube channel. It's one of the things I like about YouTube. So I've given you the links. Everything I talk about today that has a link, I've posted that in Money Study Group. So you'll want to enroll if you want to grab the links if you're going to continue in the course. And I'm assuming that everyone here will continue, and I hope you do. But if you don't, I will understand if you have other options that you think may be better for you. So this playlist is where all of the videos, if I talk about a video, or here's one of the things that happens throughout the course of the semester. As we do assignments, as we're building your financial plan, as we're talking about different elements of personal finance, I'll be looking to see if you're having questions or struggles, and if something that I taught wasn't real clear, I'll do a tutorial video. I do lots of tutorial videos throughout the course of the semester to help you. They're based on your questions and your challenges. So those tutorial videos, along with all the other videos related to assignment reviews and actual assignments, as well as these Zoom meetings, all of those videos will be posted in your playlist. So that playlist can get a little long at times, but if you just pay attention to what's in there, you'll see that it's there. If there's a video that I talk about, as well as these Zoom meetings, they'll be right there in your playlist. So that playlist will be posted again in Money Study Group so that you can find that link to the playlist and you can save that in your favorites. So if you subscribe to the channel, that will help you manage that. Now, if you're a YouTube person, let me see, somewhere in there we have a YouTube channel, and it's called Millionaire Habits. So I'm not logged in, but so right now this Zoom meeting is being live streamed to YouTube and to Facebook. And so this is the page, Millionaire Habits, that I've created for this course. And so each of these Zoom meetings is live streamed for your convenience. If you prefer Facebook, then it's there on that page at Millionaire Habits. If you prefer YouTube, then you can go to the YouTube channel, and I would suggest grabbing the link to the YouTube playlist for the fall 2022 semester. So that is that. Let me see what else. I wanted to mention, if you didn't know this, we have a GroupMe link, a new GroupMe group that I've set up for, oh no, that's summer. That's not good. I've got the wrong link here. So let me make sure. Have any of you signed up to our GroupMe and the correct one for fall? Because I grabbed the wrong link here, which means that I got to figure out where I grabbed this link so I can update it. I believe in Blackboard I have the correct link. So can anybody confirm that in chat? And I see a couple of questions. I love questions. Okay, thanks. Is it Nagan? Did I say your name right? Anyway, thank you. Yes, you were able to sign up. That's great. Appreciate that. Okay, question. I love questions. Is answering the questions on Money Study Group also what counts as participation? Yes, it is. So I want to talk a little bit about class participation. And I should open the syllabus right now, but I don't have the syllabus handy. I don't have my syllabus handy, but I know what's on the syllabus. So let me talk about that. The question was Nan. Okay, Nan, thanks. As in Nancy. Cool. All right. So the question was, does answering the questions in Money Study Group count as participation? It does. And as you know, after looking at the syllabus, there are 200 points. I'm going to talk about the points now. 200 points in this course that go for class participation. Let me explain a little bit about how that works. So each week you'll get an assignment. Every week there's an assignment that goes along with the lecture and the content, and it really progressively moves you towards completing your financial plan one step at a time. So it's very gradual and progressive. But in the course of the semester, you have 200 points that you can earn for class participation. So if you just do the assignment, there'll always be a component for class participation. Usually, like this week, for example, class participation means I'm asking you to commit to tell me what are you going to use this semester to track your spending. So most of you are already doing this. You're already using some tool to track your spending, and that's great. But one of the things we're going to focus on in this course is the 3 laws of personal finance. The first law of personal finance is the law of spending and saving. You spend less than you earn so you can save more for what matters most. And to do that, you have to track your spending. And so many of you are already doing that. Some of you are not. As I'm reading the comments in Money Study Group, as you're interacting already with the course content and with me and the questions that I post, you're basically showing me that you're engaged. You're saying, I'm looking at this tool to track my spending and that tool. I'm looking at mint.com. I'm thinking about using Excel. I'm going to use my bank app. So that's all I'm asking you to do each week as we have assignments. I'm asking you to participate in the course, engage in the course, and collaborate with one another. When you post those comments in Money Study Group, you get to see them. You get to see what other students are saying. And so that is part of class participation. And that is worth 200 points. At the end of the semester, as long as you're doing those pieces of the assignment, you're participating, you'll get all 200 points. Now, here's where you won't get 200 points. If you decide that one of the assignments, you're too busy, you don't have time, you just didn't get around to it, and so you do the assignment, or you don't do the assignment at all, you get a 0. If you get a 0 on an assignment, you also get a deduction for class participation. So when you do an assignment, each week you do an assignment, it's worth 50 points. Do you want to learn how to earn an extra 20% on each of your assignments and gain a lot of extra points throughout the semester? Listen, I want to make earning an A super easy for you. Some of my friends at U of H who are instructors and professors say that I'm Professor Skittles. Skittles are a little candy, and they say I give away Skittles. And I do. I will do whatever it takes to incentivize you to pay attention in this course, to participate, to make personal finance a priority for you this semester. Because I believe that I can teach you the things to take away the anxiety that you have about managing money. And so when you do an assignment each week, it's worth 50 points. But if you do it early and you do it correctly, I'll give you 20% bump on that. So that means 10 points on a 50-point assignment. And early means by Friday at 3 p.m. So every assignment is always due on Tuesday at 10 a.m. When we have this Zoom meeting, you will already have submitted your assignment from the previous week. And if you submitted that assignment by Friday at 3 p.m., then you will get 10 extra points as long as you do the assignment correctly. Now, here's another benefit, another reason why you're really going to want to try to turn your assignments in early by Friday at 3 p.m. So that gives me a chance to grade your assignments over the weekend. And then I can give you feedback if you missed something, if you missed an element of the assignment. I can give you some feedback and say, you're missing this, go do it again, go fix this, resubmit by Tuesday at 10 a.m. and you will still get the extra points. So there's no reason why you won't earn you need 950 points to get an A in this course. And there's no reason you won't earn all 950 points by Thanksgiving, early. Here's what I want to do. I really do want to make it easy to earn an A. I don't think that this course should be difficult. For some of you, it's going to be a lot more difficult than others because we all have challenges like I'm not good at some things, and to learn the basics of that something would be more difficult for me than most people. Like, for example, I'm terrible at directions. So if you dropped me in the woods with a compass and said, figure it out, it might be harder for me than you. Well, personal finance might be harder for you than it is for me and for other students, and that's okay. I'm going to be here to help you, and I want to make this course an easy A for everyone who's willing to do the homework. If you don't do the assignment and you get a 0, you will get a deduction and you won't get an A. So if you pay attention and if you do the assignments, you'll earn an easy A. If you do the assignments early, you'll gain extra points. You'll get ahead. By the end of the course, by the end of the semester, in this course, there's no final exam. There's a capstone assignment, which you will be building all through the semester. By the time you do the capstone assignment, which is worth 200 points, that's like the final exam. By the time you do that assignment, everything that is included in the capstone assignment, you've already done. So each of the assignments you do throughout the semester are building onto the capstone assignment. It's like having your own complete financial plan, a comprehensive financial plan that you're going to build throughout the semester as you learn about personal finance. That's the capstone. It's worth 200 points. But it's really not a difficult assignment because it's everything you've already done, just putting it all together into one assignment, one report. So I promise it's the capstone instead of a final exam. It's worth 200 points, and most students get 200 points unless they miss a few things. But by the end of the semester, you're going to have, most of you, I promise, are going to have way more than 950 points, and you're going to know that you earned your A before the semester is even over. So I hope that helps, but it only helps if you do it. So please get in a habit of turning your assignment in on Friday by 3 p.m., not on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And if you miss an assignment and you don't turn it in by Tuesday at 10 a.m., you will get a 0. I will give you a 0. And then if you turn it in by 5 o'clock on Tuesday, you'll get 1 point. It doesn't matter when you turn it in. If you turn it in within 2 weeks of the assignment due date, you'll get 1 point. But that 1 point is worth a lot more than 1 point, because that 1 point means that you're not going to get an additional deduction on your class participation. So I know that maybe for some of you that may be challenging and may seem harsh, and for others, that's very reasonable. So you need to do your homework in this course to earn your A. It's the only way that I can interact with you sufficiently to teach you what I want to teach you about how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. So what does that mean? To become a millionaire by the time you're 50. Now it's time for you to participate. So it looks like the assignments ask for screenshots. I want to know what we need. So, okay, let me look. I got some. Okay, so it looks like the link to GroupMe, Nan, it looks like you got summer 2022. Okay, I'll make sure that I post the correct link in. So here I've got a link. I'm going to click on this link, and yeah, so that's the right link. I just does everybody see that link? Is it posted for everyone? Thank you, Nan, for that. So that is the link we want. I'm going to copy that link. No, how did I do that? I'm going to copy that link, and I'm going to post it over here. And it looks like, yeah, I had the wrong link. So the link that I have, let me just put this link here. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me see if I can get this link to show up for you. There we go. Okay. So that's the link you should see when you jump into GroupMe. If you're in the Zoom meeting, you will see that link in the chat. You'll want to grab that. I'm pretty sure that's the one that's in Blackboard. I'm not sure where that incorrect link was. I think it's probably anyway. That's the link you want. And we have 67 members, so clearly we've got about half of our group. There's probably 100 of us or so. So anyway, thank you for sharing that link. Back to, and let me talk about GroupMe for a minute because it's different than Money Study Group. And I'll talk about the screenshots in just a second. And I'll talk about registering and how, if you can't access it, I can help you with that. But first, let's talk about GroupMe. So GroupMe is, for us, it's a very private, well, it is private. It's only the members that have the link, and you have the link now. But GroupMe is different than Money Study Group. GroupMe is for you. It's a way for you to collaborate and participate, but it's for you. In other words, while I'm part of the group and I can certainly go in and see your comments and interact with you. I try to avoid that because I feel like this is your space to talk to one another and to share, to ask questions and to answer questions for one another. And I think that's awesome. I usually ask for a volunteer, for someone in the course who's like willing to say, hey, I jump into GroupMe on a regular basis, and here's what I'll do. Here's what I need. Here's what I'm asking for. I won't know if you have questions that aren't getting answered unless you let me know. So you can let me know by shooting me an email, a text message. My contact information is in the syllabus. But I'm not jumping into GroupMe every day to see if all of your questions are getting answered. I'm encouraging you to ask your question in GroupMe. If you send me an email and ask me a question, or you send me a text message and you say, I have a question, and that question is something I've already discussed on a Zoom meeting, I'm not going to reply. Or my reply is going to be very curt, very short, very direct. Did you ask in GroupMe? So don't ask me a question that you haven't asked in GroupMe. GroupMe is for you so that you can ask questions that you may have missed because maybe you didn't attend the Zoom meeting, which is required, and you really need to do that. Or maybe you didn't really do the homework and you have a question and you want an easy, quick answer. Great, go to GroupMe. Don't email me. Don't call me, don't text me about a question that you should be able to figure out on your own. Okay, I hope that's fair. That's what GroupMe is for. But again, if there are questions in GroupMe that you're not getting answered, please, if there's someone who wants to volunteer to be that kind of mediator, to say, hey, I'll keep an eye on the GroupMe and I will regularly, just shoot you an email, Professor Munchback, to let you know that there is a question or two that are not getting answered that we don't know the answer to. Those are questions I want to answer as quickly as possible. So again, if we don't get that volunteer, then everybody has the ability to shoot me an email. But imagine getting an email from every student about a question. I'd rather not do that. So please use GroupMe for what it's for. That's a place for you to interact with one another and help one another. And you can grab screenshots from GroupMe to show me in any week that you want to say, hey, I was participating in GroupMe, I answered this question. That's a great screenshot for you to post, to put into your assignment. So let me talk about screenshots for a minute, because so there's GroupMe and there's Money Study Group, and there's also Facebook and YouTube. And when you want to earn points for class collaboration and participation, those are the four options. You've got GroupMe, you've got Money Study Group, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, Facebook and YouTube are very public. I'm happy to accept those, thrilled that you're willing to post stuff in, YouTube, Facebook, and then grab a screenshot. If you don't know how to grab a screenshot, there is a post in Money Study Group to show you how to do that. That's not my job to teach you. You really need to know how to grab screenshots. And by the way, screenshots are not pictures of the screen. If you send me a picture of the screen, you will get a deduction. Don't take pictures of your screen and then use those as screenshots. If you don't know what a screenshot is, you have a little homework to do. So screenshot of something you post on YouTube or Facebook is perfect. A screenshot of something you post in Money Study Group is perfect. The difference between Money Study Group and YouTube and Facebook is that Money Study Group is a private space for us. YouTube and Facebook are not. Those are public. Now, GroupMe is different. GroupMe is not, if you contribute, you answer a question, that's great. I'm happy to see that, and you can take that and use it. But the fact that you're just interacting in GroupMe, I really don't want you to use GroupMe as your class collaboration period. So don't post the things like this week. This week, do you know what your class collaboration, your class participation assignment is? Do you know what this week's? You don't, because I haven't posted the assignment, or you may not. But if you've been in Money Study Group, you know that one of the things I'm going to ask you to do is create a very basic budget, and I'm going to ask you to commit to the tool that you're going to use throughout the semester to track your spending. And so that's your class collaboration. So for example, if you decided to say in GroupMe, hey, I'm going to use mint.com, that's great. But if you submit GroupMe as your class collaboration, I'm going to be like, no, you need to post that in Money Study Group, not in GroupMe. That's not what GroupMe is. Now you can talk about it. You can post it in GroupMe. That's great. Is this better than that? You can do all of that in GroupMe. That's fine. Just don't use that as your class collaboration documentation. Don't take a screenshot from GroupMe. Unless you're using it to say, hey, I answered this question. That's great. That's extra. I appreciate that. So I hope that helps. If so, I don't see any other questions. Let's see. So back to assignments. Let me see. So your assignments, all of your assignments will be posted in Blackboard. All of your points that you earn for the semester will be posted in Blackboard. So you want to keep track of your accumulated points in Blackboard. Again, the magic number is 950. You need 950 points to earn an A. There's no such thing as an A+ at the Bauer College of Business. So if you earn 1,100 points, way to go. That means basically at the end of the semester, if you want to, you really need to do all your assignments to get the 200 points. But I promise you, if you do your assignments early, you're going to have extra points. So I hope you don't feel cheated if you end up with 1,100 points. But you do get the benefit of being done early and not have to worry about a final exam or hustling at the end of the semester to make up points. If you do those assignments early, you get extra points, and it's a big benefit. And like I said before, if you missed it, another benefit of turning your assignment in early is you get the additional attention of feedback from me if, in fact, you missed something in your assignment that requires you to go back and make some adjustments. And you still get the extra points as long as you turn your assignment in by Tuesday at 10 a.m. An additional 20% or 10 points is typically what I'll give you. Now, if you did if your assignment wasn't great and maybe I don't give you a deduction, but maybe I don't give you the full 10 points, I'll try to tell you, yeah, you're kind of missing something, but I gave you 5 extra points instead of 10. But most of the time, I just give you the 10 points. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Again, these Zoom meetings are required that you watch them because I will cover things that are, I'll do a lecture, which is important for you, but I'll also talk about assignments and I'll help you build your capstone throughout the semester. And so that's just kind of FYI. And all of the Zoom meetings, again, will be posted in your playlist at Money Study Group on YouTube. Let's see. Do you have any questions? One of the things I would encourage you to do if you're having trouble getting into money study group, very few of you should have any trouble. But if it's a matter of just missing, like you have to sign up and then you have to enroll, you have to pay the $79.95 to get into the content that goes beyond the free previews. You do have to do that to get into the course. So that's something you're going to have to do. If you haven't done that, if you haven't paid the $79.95, you won't have access to the online portal. This week, that's part of your assignment, is to get enrolled in the online course. That's where you're going to get the content, the training content. Your assignments, though, again, will come through Blackboard. So let me talk a little bit about the 3 laws of personal finance. That's one of the videos you're going to watch. But when I started teaching this course over 10 years ago, I was really trying to figure out, what are the essential things that you need to know to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. And the first law of personal finance, I've already talked about, the law of spending and saving. And there's no more important law of personal finance than the law of spending and saving. You have to spend less than you earn. Now, you and I, we all know people that use their credit cards and use credit to spend more money than they actually have. That's like a huge issue in the United States. And it's a huge issue with businesses in the United States. And so if you want to be successful, if you want to become, whether it's to become a millionaire by the time you're 50, which is really not a big challenge, $1 million may seem like a ton, but by the time you're 50, I promise you, just like I'm 60 years old, when I was your age, $1 million seemed like a tremendous amount of money. And it kind of was when I was your age. But today, as a 60-year-old, the fact that I was able to accumulate $1 million in net worth by the time I was 50 is really not that significant. But it's way better than the alternative. In other words, the alternative of not paying attention to how much money I spent and saved and invested. If I would have just gone through my life with no plan and no commitment and no intention, I could have been like so many people that I know. And instead of having $1 million net worth, which may not be remarkable, may not be that big of a deal, it's way better than being $500,000 in debt. And so the law of spending and saving is huge. And this first week, that's what we're going to focus on. But then as we go through the course, we're going to focus on something like the second law of personal finance, which is the law of tax-advantaged investing. And tax-advantaged investing is something that is it's very close to my heart. I was born on April 15th, and so that's tax day. My first son was born on December 31st. So at the time, and I was in college when I got married and had my first child, and at that time, you got a $1,250 tax credit. Not a deduction, but a credit. It's like money in your pocket. And that's the way the tax code was back then. But the cool thing was my son was born on December 31st, which meant I got that tax credit for the entire year, even though he was born on the very last hour of the year. So that's called a tax deduction. And so one of the things I want to teach you is how to recognize the benefits of certain tax-advantaged investing strategies. And I'm going to teach you a lot about investing in this course. But that's one of the big categories that can help you become a millionaire by the time you're 50 if you pay attention to tax-advantaged investing. So we're going to talk about that. The third law of personal finance that I want to highlight is the law of purpose and commitment. And so as we go through the course, I'm going to ask you to think about your purpose in life. What is, if you had to come up with a statement that said, this is my purpose in life, is your purpose to become really good at video games? I hope not. I hope you have a bigger purpose than that. But I really want you to think about really what is your purpose? What matters most to you? If we fast forwarded the clock say 5 years from now, what would have to happen in your life for you to feel good about your progress? I want you to think about things like that because that's what we're going to be working on. I'm going to teach you some fundamental basic things about personal finance. I'm going to overlay that with some habits, some things that you can just do, small things that you can do to make a big difference in your life. And then I'm going to teach you some strategies that you can use. And you're going to learn these over the course of the semester. But what you're not going to learn, unless you dig deep, unless you reflect and think about your purpose, is you're not going to learn the answer to the question, why? Why does it matter that you learn what I want to teach you in this course? Why does it matter to you? And so the third law of personal finance is the law of purpose and commitment. If you don't know why you do what you do, if you don't know why it's important for you to change your habits and do things that may be a little more difficult in the short run so that you can experience the benefits of your discipline in the long run, if you don't know why, if you can't answer the question why, if you don't know what your purpose is, then you're never going to have the ability to really commit to do the things that you can do to make that big difference in your life. So I hope you'll start thinking about that. Those are the three laws of personal finance, and they're really kind of the foundation of the course. If you decide that you like the goal that I've put together for this course, the goal is very simple: how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. I can teach you how to do that. So if we were together in the classroom, I would ask you if you had any questions, and I would wait. Because there's one question, if I were you, I would want to ask. And somebody usually would ask the question that I would want to ask. So if I'm sitting up here in front of this camera now, but if I were standing in front of you in a classroom telling you that I could teach you how to become a millionaire by the time you were 50, if I were a student listening to that person, I would want to know, did you do it? Is this something you've done? And the answer to that question is yes, I've done that. And so not only have I done it, but I've helped other people do it, and I've learned from them how they did it. So what is it to become a millionaire by the time you're 50? What does that mean? What's the definition to you of being a millionaire? Think about that. Leave a comment in the chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, then leave a comment. Could be a good class collaboration in addition to what tool are you going to use to track your spending. But just what do you think the definition of a millionaire is? Anyone? We're gonna kind of wrap it up on that. So let's have a little conversation. Use the chat. Tell me what you think it means to be a millionaire. What's the definition of a millionaire to you? I know what it is to me, and I'm going to share that with you. But first, let me see some chats. I don't see any chats. Does that mean you guys are all watching Netflix? Hello? Yes, Sarah. Yeah, it's a big factor. It's a good question too. So, you know, when I created this course, my thoughts were really focused on college age students who were about to graduate and get a job. And if you graduate from a business college, typically you're going into an industry or a career where you're going to make a certain amount of money. And so the goal of becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50 for me is super easy for those students who are, college age. But if you start later, and if, I know some students in this course are older, like I went to college when I was very young out of high school, but I know many of you are older. So it's more difficult. And so I don't know, Sarah, the answer to the question, when do you start? But as we go through the course and as you build a financial plan, I'll help you see what that looks like for you, no matter what your age is. But obviously, if you're 40, as opposed to 25, you have a lot more work to do to achieve that goal than you would. And if you're 35 or 40 years old and you've already accumulated a good amount of debt, then that definition of a millionaire that we're going to talk about in a minute becomes more challenging for you than if you're 25 and you start out with a good plan and good habits. So it's a good question. I don't know if I answered it, but I hope to answer it over the course of the semester for you. Do you have a follow up, Sarah, or is that good? You bet. Yeah, I mean, I it's a general thing that I'm teaching generally college age folks, and so when I say that I'm very confident that I can teach you how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50, there's no question in any fiber of my being, no doubt whatsoever, that I can teach you how to do that, and it will not be difficult. But again, if you've been in the military and you're older, it's a little different. It's a little more work, but it's still very doable. So here we go with definitions. So having $1 million, David says, pool of assets worth a certain amount is one answer. That you have financial freedom and your network worth millions of dollars. And there's a question mark there. Multiple assets, sense of stability, financial freedom, financially responsible, and have financial freedom. So those are all really good comments, but they're very vague, very general. If you have a goal and you can't really clarify specifically what that goal is, you have no chance of reaching it. And the things that you're telling me are so here's one: no debt and having assets worth over $1 million. Nally, that's the right answer. No debt and having assets worth over $1 million. So that the answer is the goal that I'm saying I can teach you how to do is to become a millionaire by the time you're 50, which means you have $1 million net worth. That means you don't have debt. You could have $1 million in the bank in your investment accounts, and you could owe, $500,000 on your house. That would not make you a millionaire because you would really only have a net worth of $500,000. So just think about it that way. $1 million net worth means you've got $1 million saved at your disposal in assets, and it might include property or a house or whatever. Primarily, I'm focused on investment accounts and savings accounts and actual money, but it could be assets. Like maybe you decided you wanted to invest in real estate and now you own real estate assets with no debt that equal $1 million. You would have $1 million net worth. And that's what I want for you, is to get to be 50 and be able to say, hey, look, I've got a net worth of $1 million. You're in pretty good shape if you can do that. It's certainly better than if you end up at 50, not that that's the end, because I'm 60 and I hope to be 70 or 80. But if you get to be 50 and you're in debt $50,000, that's a big difference from having $1 million net worth. And so it's not a huge goal. It's not rocket science. I know some of you are thinking you want to be a billionaire by the time you're 50. That course is available, but it's a much more expensive course than the one you signed up for. And I can't say I've done that because I'm not a billionaire. I have no expectation that I'll ever be a billionaire, and I don't really care. But to be a millionaire, according to the definition of having $1 million in assets, I'm 60. So by the time I was 50, I did that. And it just gets better from there if you continue to use the things I'm going to teach you, the strategies you're going to learn about investing, tax advantage investing especially. You're going to learn that it's not that difficult for you to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. And I'm so excited to be teaching you that. And we are out of time. So I'll be happy to hang around. But for those of you who need to move on, I try to end at 11 a.m. I know we could go a few minutes more, but each week I will try to start on time. I'll try to end on time, 11 o'clock, and I will always be available to hang around if you have questions, which I will do now. Remember, those of you who came late, in case you missed this announcement, in the future, I'm only going to admit students who get here by 5 minutes after 10. So if you show up after at 7 minutes after, you're going to have to watch the live stream. You're not going to be able to participate in the course because I can't be paying attention and admitting students. You're going to miss the most important part of the meeting at the very beginning. Like I'm going to, at 10:05, I'm going to start teaching and I'm not going to repeat that. That's not fair to the students who showed up on time. So for all of you who showed up on time today, thank you very much. For those of you who showed up late, next week and from here on out, either show up on time or just watch the live stream. This is an asynchronous course. I love to have you here present, and I appreciate that. But yes, question? Yeah, yeah. If you come in and you get dropped, you just come back in and I'll see that you are coming back. Um, yeah. Well, if you ever, yes, sure. Yep. If you would send me an email, you have my email address, jmunchback@icloud.com. If you'll send me an email with the email that you used to pay, I'll make sure that you can log in, and I'll do a little tutorial too to show you how to log in. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you. So the question, can you become a millionaire just by saving? I'm assuming you mean as opposed to investing. And the answer is yes, you sure can. I think it's easier if you learn a little bit about investing because you can make your money grow. So that um, hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions? Okay, we're pretty close to wrapping it up. I'm going to go and end the live stream. I'm going to keep the Zoom meeting open though. So if anyone has a question or wants to chat, I will be back in just a second. I'm just going to click over here and I'm going to say goodbye to everyone who's in the live stream. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube, we are ending now.